Hey, how's it going guys? Phil here, and this is a review for the e-cookbook Healthy Pressure Cooker, Pressure Cooker Recipes for the Whole Family by Pavel Krinitskiy. So first off, I want to acknowledge that the recipes in this book are actually pretty good, and make very tasty and for the most part healthy meals. They've been tested and created by experts and chefs from all over. How do I know this? Because every recipe in this book can also be found on well-known cooking blogs, magazines, and publications, readily available on the internet. A quick internet search of the ingredients list and dish names will turn up the exact recipes elsewhere. For example, Health Starts in the Kitchen's Chipotle Chicken, Black Beans and Rice recipe appears on page 10 and 11. Mama Latina Tips Beef Barbacoa recipe is on page 12 and 13, and Cooking Light's Prosecco and Parmesan Risotto is on pages 14 and 15, and so on and so forth. The recipes are reproduced with the same exact ingredients nearly word for word, and while recipe borrowing isn't unheard of in the cookbook world, it certainly could have been more transparent that that is what you were getting with this book. To the author's credit, he did keep most of the recipes intact without changing the proportions or dropping any ingredients. In most cases, the order of the ingredients was simply switched up, and occasionally there was an insertion of a small quantity of an aromatic, possibly to make the recipe appear, but not taste, entirely different. After all, why mess with a recipe that's already been taste tested and proven? The result, however, made it easy to spot the copied and modified recipes for a few reasons. In the very first recipe for spinach and tomato quiche, you see a very lovely picture of a baked quiche in a quiche pan, with a nice fluffy pastry crust. But if you read the recipe, the dish is prepared in a casserole dish, and without a crust. No serious cookbook author uses the image of a different dish to show off their recipe. Not only are the recipes borrowed, so are all the images, and what you see is not necessarily what you're going to get. There's also no consistency at all. In one recipe, the ingredients called for beef chuck roast, while another recipe called for Canadian beef chuck roast. For a single author to make that sort of editorial distinction between recipes is beyond far-fetched, making it clear that different people created these different recipes. Which brings me to my next point. It's highly unlikely the author has personally recreated each and every one of these recipes in his own pressure cooker. And that's a shame, because it means that he simply trusted the original recipe's author to their skill and talent without giving them credit. There is very little personality nor sense of cohesiveness throughout the book. While the author does do some creative editing, simplifying and reducing of the steps to limit the recipes to a few short paragraphs by stripping out all the personal touches of the original authors, it also casts doubt on the authenticity of the nutritional information found at the end of each recipe. Most of the original recipes didn't have that sort of information, so at best, without scientific measurement, these figures are estimated, and at worst, simply random numbers. Again, the recipes are fine, and I'm sure if you follow them, you'll get some fantastic ideas and dishes out of them, because they are created by real chefs with real talent. But know that this book is simply a collection of recipes collected from around the internet, and the author is simply trying to make a profit off of the work of others by making you believe that he's provided you with something of value other than doing some internet searches and a few cut and pastes. I hope you enjoyed this review. You can ask me any questions in the comments. I'll put a link to the product in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and join me next time.